Welcome to another Which is Greater. Today we'll be looking at two mystery games about limited communication. Mysterium, where one player sends messages into another player's dreams. And... Matt?
Oh, Deception. A game where someone's died and you know someone on the police force did it. Look, sorry, did we have to do this right here?
I don't see a problem. In Mysterium, one of you has been tragically murdered and is now a ghost.
I am the ghost of Christmas Review's present.
No, not like that. This ghost is not allowed to talk. No, not like that either. This is a calm, non-murdery ghost that just wants justice. It's going to get that by feeding clues into the dreams of the players around the table.
They are mediums, each looking into a potential suspect. Kind of like Cluedo, they need to put together a culprit, their location, and a potential murder weapon from the set of cards laid out at the start of the game.
It's the ghost's job to direct the other players to the right suspect card using the medium of...
Dance!
Dreams. Dream cards. Hopefully, that dream will give you a clue as to which suspect you're going for.
Well, that dream was obviously the artist.
What? How is that the... Look at his clothes! It's obviously the magician.
Oh.
Or at least that's what I would be saying if I weren't the ghost.
Ah, well, that dream was obviously the artist. Did I get it right? Deception is a bit more grounded. There's been a murder, but you know someone on the police force did it.
Damn it, which one of you was it?
Each player has a selection of item cards, things from the crime scene. The murderer secretly selects two of them to indicate what they used to perform the murder.
How do you catch them? Well, one player will be the forensic scientist, who knows everything, but that nobody wants to talk to, apparently.
Instead, they can only communicate with the police officer through reports, 1 or 2 word clues describing one element of the crime.
They'll have 6 of these and need to carefully choose what clues to give, as well as when to give them. The scientist is smart, you see. They're listening to the conversation at the table and trying to time their clues for best effect.
You'll be looking round the table trying to find the cards that best fit the clues. Eventually, one player might be ready to accuse another. They throw their badge onto the table and pick 2 items from in front of that player.
The forensic scientist will then say whether you've correctly identified the evidence. That's right, you can't just guess the player. You need to figure out which 2 items they used during the murder.
Whether that was the teapot and the gun, or the axe and the plant.
If a player correctly accuses, the good cops win. If everyone wastes their badges on incorrect guesses, then the murderer is going to get away with it. But the brilliant thing is that the murderer is at the table, desperately trying to distract everyone from the cards in front of them. And of course they are, so is everybody else. The best social deduction games have all players at the table effectively trying to do the same thing, just for different reasons. It's a great game.
In Mysterium, you win or lose together. The ghost must carefully select dreams for each player to help them identify all 3 pieces of their personal puzzle before time runs out.
If everyone gets all 3 pieces they were looking for, then, in a final round, all the players must find the one murderer with only a few collective dreams between them.
It's a thrilling climax. Players must vote on who they think the murderer is based, potentially, on very little information, leading to a dramatic final yes or no.
I love how the entire game rests on this one final test. You all come so far, but you might still fall flat on your face. The pressure is on for both the players and the ghosts, bringing you together. The ghost is using what it's learned from the players' guesses over the course of the game, and the players are given one opportunity for a big discussion to inevitably talk themselves into the wrong answer. It is a great game.
That tape is still on the floor.
Then let's solve this mystery!
Well, what is great about both of these games is how players will always misinterpret clues when there's limited communication.
It's true, trying to pick the right dream card in Mysterium is always hilarious, as the players talk themselves out the right answer.
Deception is slightly more subtle because you have this element of when do you reveal the clue. And you can also replace 2 of the clue boards during the game, which is super important for correcting confused players. You know, I'd argue that Mysterium is far more amusing for the ghost than it is for the other players. After all, they are the only one in on the joke.
Maybe, but the other players still get to laugh at the ghost squirming in frustration in absolute silence.
Yeah, but it's still not as engaging an experience as Deception is for those players. You know, all the chat back and forth, accusations and counter-accusations.
But that's inevitable in a social deduction game rather than a cooperative puzzle like Mysterium. But you still get to discuss each other's dreams.
But I'm saying it's more fun for more players and therefore greater.
Only if you like social deduction games, and there's loads of people out there who don't.
Damn. But we can't just eliminate the comparison like that.
You're right. Let's look at the components.
Mysterium is beautiful. Just look at that clock.
That what?
Clock.
But what the hell is going on with Deception? The player boards are borderline unreadable, and they didn't even put the English and German a consistent way around.
Yeah, it was made by a smaller Asian company who presumably didn't think they could afford to do separate English and German editions.
And that means the clues, the most important part of the game, are hard to read.
Like, I know it's not ideal, but I've never known a game of Deception to hinge on whether players could or couldn't read the clue cards. I mean, they're introduced one at a time and discussed. Besides, Mysterium doesn't have bullet tokens.
Why? Why does it have bullet tokens?
Well, how else do you mark up reports, Robin? Why does Mysterium have stupid vote tokens?
Oh, here we go.
Tell the viewers about the vote tokens, Robin.
Okay, so each player gets a set of yay or nay vote tokens that they can place on other players' guesses to say, yes, I think you got that right, or no, I think that's wrong.
Okay.
And if your vote is right, then
Yes?
you move up this track.
Oh, yeah.
The important thing is that the higher up the track you are, the more cards you get to see when voting on the final suspect.
So they do have a purpose and they keep everybody engaged.
Yep, it's always good when you just need to add some tokens to make your players engaged.
Mysterium doesn't need the tokens. The designers just didn't want one player gathering all of their cards in the first 3 rounds and then sitting around with nothing to do for 4 rounds while the other players catch up.
So desperately plastering over a structural issue in the game then. Like, Deception goes out of its way to make sure players are involved, and does so that they get involved in all discussions throughout the game. At a couple of points during Deception, you're supposed to go around the table and each share your thoughts.
But when does the game end?
After the 3rd time round the table.
And how does the bad guy win?
If no one's identified their evidence before the end of that discussion.
And when does a discussion end?
Question I ask every episode. I see what you mean. Deception is a little loose in its endgame criteria. I mean, mostly games end when all the non-bad guys have made an accusation.
So, it looks like you've got your own structural problems then.
Well, hardly. Everyone wants to win. They know they're not going to get any more information, and so they naturally make a guess and the game comes to a satisfying conclusion. In only about half an hour. How long does Mysterium take?
About an hour.
At least. And are you having twice as much fun?
Oh, come on, it's not linear.
Are you?
No.
No. Come on, you know Deception is the way to go.
Unless you hate social deduction games.
Unless you hate social deduction games. But we don't have that problem.
No, we don't.
Thank you for watching another Which is Greater. We'll be back next week with another episode.
What about what?
I don't want to spoil the surprise, Robin.
You hadn't planned the episode order when you wrote this, had you?
No.
So this could be the last episode and you wouldn't know.
You know, I think I preferred you as the Mysterium Ghost.
I'm more like a forensic scientist picking over the corpse of this outro.
Please subscribe and enjoy more well-organised episodes like this one. See you soon.
Or not.
Who knows?